Hello friends, so it's a beautiful overcast day in early September. It's Labor Day actually, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity to work out in the front garden here. So I had a couple plants that I wanted to plant into this garden bed after noticing there were a couple holes. So starting over here to the right, I had popped in some grasses, some Feather Falls Carex. You can see that there's two right there that you can see. I think there's actually three in here. Yep, the other one is just peeking through here. It's a little bit smaller, but I have a triangle of Feather Falls Carex. So I have a Carex in the backyard that was not doing well. It kept dying. I've actually tried planting this Carex, like a row of three of them in the same spot for a couple of years, and every year they died. And I just kept replacing them thinking, you know, maybe it'll survive this year because I really wanted that look there. But the reality is, it's just not a good spot for them because it just kept dying. So I was able to salvage this one, only one of them. And it looks a little rough, but I think if I cut it back, that I might be able to put it in this bed and hopefully it'll do well. So I'm just trying to decide where to place it. At first I was going to place it here, but now that I see the color next to the wee white hydrangea, I think the colors are a little bit too similar. So maybe I'll bump it back a little bit because I don't like how the texture is right, but the color is too similar. So let's try it back here maybe. I'm wondering if I should put it there. Well, okay, I'm gonna think on that. And the other plant I wanted to put in this garden bed is an Anemone, Fall in Love Sweetly. And I already have one in here. So you can see that is this plant here with the blooms, the pink blooms. That is a fall bloomer and it's doing really well there. It needs a sun to part sun location. So I had put a second one in this bed, but it's not doing as well. So if I'll give you a close-up, you can see how tiny it is. So it has a bloom on it, so it's not completely dead, but it's not doing that great as opposed to the other one. So I wanted to get a third one in here, and I'm pretty sure I had a third one, but it didn't come back, didn't survive. So this is the plant, Fall in Love Sweetly Anemone. You can see it has blooms on it. I got it on clearance for $3 from $15, so a real steal of a deal. And there's pictures of the blooms, full sun, part sun, perennial anemone. And it is minimum 24 inches, maximum 30 inches, and it's zone 4 to 8, fall blooming perennial. So I wanted to get that in the ground so I don't have to keep watering it. So I think this would be a good spot for it because it will get, like, sun comes from this side, and even though there's this canopy of a tree, it still gets quite a bit of sun. And there's a hole in there. I have some muscari planted in there. I'll just try to avoid those. And then this dahlia is going to be gone. So I think that'll be great for a fall blooming accent right there. It'll look nice and pick up the color from back there where I have the other one. Okay, well, at least let's get this one in the ground and I'll think about the Carex a little bit more. All right, so we've got the whole dig for our Fall in Love Sweetly Anemone. And as I was doing that, I noticed I have one here as well. So that's nice because it looks like it's putting on its blooms. So it's nice to have one nearby. I think it'll add more impact. So I'm just gonna show you, dug the hole, and there are some worms in there I see, so that's a good sign. I'm a little bit worried about this soil is not that great here. And then I wanted to show you the roots on this. It looks very healthy. I have this in my plant staging area where I kind of just store plants that I bought and haven't planted yet. And you can see there was a worm actually in the pot. I don't know exactly how that happened because it was on the driveway. So, But anyways, so I think that's all really healthy plant. So I'm really happy that I got that at such a great deal for $3. And I'm hoping it will do really well in this spot. So let's get it in. Okay, I've tried my Carex in a few different spots, just kind of putting it in there and take a look. And I think I like this spot here. Just kind of nestled in amongst those heuchera. I think those are toffee tart. I think it'll look good there, and hopefully it'll be happy with enough sun. It looks like it'll be shaded quite a bit from the tree, but I'll get a fair bit of morning sun. So let's try it and see how it does. All right, I've got my Carex planted. It was a little tricky getting under this tree to do that, and getting the shovel under there is a bit tough, but I think it looks good there, and I'm just hopeful it gets enough sun. If not, maybe we'll have to move it again. One thing I did note is that I did have a pulmonaria right next to there. He's pointing that out there. That is a twinkle toes pulmonaria. And I was heartened to see that because I thought I lost that, because the other two that are kind of behind here, so here and here, had grown so much and were doing so well. And this one, for some reason, is just tiny. So compare the size of this big one and this teeny tiny one. But at least it didn't die. I debated moving that, but I'm gonna leave it there, and hopefully it'll, you know, catch up to the other two. Maybe it just needs more time. All right, so we've got our Carex in, and I believe this one is Evergold. It's kind of got like a green margin with a yellow stripe in the middle. And we've got our Anemone in. All right, and just on the other side now, I had removed a mountain Pieris japonica. So it's a plant like this. I had removed it from this hole. Hello friends, so it is a lovely August afternoon. We have the sun, which is very warm, but we also have this beautiful gentle breeze, which is helping me stay cool out here in the shade. So in this front garden bed, I have 3 Pieris. These are the Mountain Fire, I believe, japonica, Pieris japonica, and they have this beautiful new red growth. So when the new growth comes out, it's this red color. And it's actually like a full 4-season shrub. It is evergreen in my zone of 8B. It develops these little berries. Let me show you, there's some left here, from these bell-shaped white flowers. So it is a really nice shrub. I have the very one at the first one, so there's 3 of them. The one at the very end, I limbed up to try to make it into tree form. So let's go take a closer look at how that turned out. And excuse my neighbor, their kid is practicing his drums right now, so you might hear some musical accompaniment in the background. So this shrub here, see, it has all this new red growth. That's all from, probably because I trimmed it. This shrub, I'd say, is at least, it's probably 5 feet tall. It's so hard to see because there's this dwarf birch tree behind it, and you can see here's the shape of the shrub in front of it. And down here, you can see where I've trimmed it into tree form, and I sprayed it with pruning paint, and that's the black on there. So don't be alarmed by that black. That is my pruning paint where I made the cuts. And you can see there isn't any new growth coming from where I painted the cuts, but down here you can see all this new growth coming up from the base. And I did a very severe pruning job. You can see there was like a really big branch here that was cut. This is a very established shrub, and it has been here for years. However, I was ready for something new and different. So it was time for a change, and even though this is a gorgeous shrub, I actually have so many on the property. Like, I think if I even take this out, I still have 3 more. So I was ready for a change, and I thought I could trim it up, make it into tree form, and underplant it. However, that shrub just wants to be a shrub. It doesn't want to be a tree, and yes, you can see from the base. So I think it's time for this tree to go. it's served its purpose, and it is kind of, you know, infringing onto this dwarf beech, the sweeping beech here, or beech tree here. And it's just the same color texture really, other than the new growth. So I was ready for a change. So what I've done is I have decided to share this with somebody else for free. So they're coming soon to dig this out. And I've given this a really good soaking to help it hopefully transplant well, because August is not the ideal time to be transplanting shrubs. You should really wait till fall if possible. But I've got a replacement that I need to get into the ground, so I wanted to get this gone. And I'm thinking if we're very careful, we dig this up, we keep it well watered, and we transplant it as soon as possible, then this will survive. So that's the plan. So I wanted to give the before shot while I still have this in here, and see how it looks after it's been removed. So this is a Pieris japonica, Mountain Fire, I believe is the variety. And here is a little bit of a better view. You can see it a little bit better from this angle because the tree is not behind it, so you can see it better. It is a beautiful shrub. It's just served its purpose here, and it's time for something new. And if I move over here, you can see another big one. This is a Pieris. This is actually the same shrub, but hasn't been limbed up to tree form. So this was severely pruned back, but you can see it's a beautiful, beautiful shaped shrub. Good for privacy and hedges if you are looking for that. And I'll take a picture of this as a before shot, and then we can take a look after it's removed. Hopefully all goes well. I had tree formed it, but it just didn't want to stay in a tree form. It kept sending up suckers from below. So I just had that removed. I gave it away to somebody. Somebody came and got it. And I've been trying this pine here. It's just like a placeholder to see if I liked it here. And I think I'm not gonna put that there. Instead, I'm gonna put a Daphne here. So I bought a Daphne on sale a little while ago. Daphne Odora. And I've been just waiting for the perfect place to put it. At first I was thinking of putting it right by my front door because it has a beautiful fragrance. But I think also along this sidewalk, along a path, is also a great place to put it. This seems to be like the perfect spot. So let's go get that Daphne and get that one planted as well. Okay, so this plant here is my Daphne Odora. This is the variety Perfume Princess. And it was originally $29.99, which is actually by itself an excellent deal. Usually I would only see Odora Daphne for like $50 or something, so it was already quite a good deal. But then this summer, my favorite greenhouse nursery had a sale for 1 week on these for $19.99, so I snatched it up. So this Perfume Princess, you can see it's getting tired of being in its pot. The leaves are starting to kind of yellow, still very healthy. Like I can see there's some new growth coming right there, but definitely I think getting it into the ground is going to be really beneficial. And as we're coming into fall, it's a great time to plant this. The rain will water it in. I'll also obviously give it a lot of water to start, and then hopefully next spring we'll have these gorgeous blooms. And Daphne, the scent is really intoxicating. It is the most lovely fragrance. So they do suggest popping it somewhere where you can benefit from that scent along a path. So I think along this sidewalk here is a great place for it, and it'll give it enough room to do its thing. Let's see. What else can I tell you about Daphne? Let me look up the zones for you and let you know. All right, so I just learned that it goes 3 by 3. It is hardy in zones 7 through 10 USDA zones, and it likes free draining soil, and it doesn't like to be overwatered. Also read that it actually blooms in midwinter to early spring, so totally a bonus there, even better, because not much else is blooming in midwinter. So maybe we'll actually see blooms on this year. That would be amazing. All right, so I just wanted to mention that actually on the Monrovia website, which this plant is on, it mentions that it's hardy zone 7 through 9. So let's go with that, 7 through 9. And it also says it gets 4 feet by 3 feet, So a little bit of variance there, and also requires sun to partial sun. And hopefully this area will get enough sun. It does get a fair bit, part sun anyways, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I've taken the Daphne out of its pot, and it's got really healthy roots, not root bound, so I don't really need to rough it up. Also, you want to find the right side, so even though the front of the bed is over here, it'll be mostly viewed from this side, so I want to put its best face forward this way. And I'm going to add some compost. Daphne aren't fussy, but I have it, so I might as well top dress with it. Alright, I'm happy to say I've got my Daphne Odora Perfume Princess planted in this spot now. Hopefully it'll do well and we'll see blooms this winter, midwinter. And it'll be protected here, you know, so even if there's snow on the driveway that gets shoveled or scraped off, plowed off to the side, this one will be protected here. It's a little bit back from the sidewalk here. This is the sidewalk edge, so there's a good foot at least before it starts. It is definitely got new growth coming on, so that's nice to see. I added some compost top dressing. Might add a little bit more. I'm trying to be careful because I want the level of this bed to be equivalent to the sidewalk, and it definitely wasn't when I started, and I'm trying to, you know, as I plant, kind of make sure that it's level, because I don't want any kind of mulch to kind of run off onto the sidewalk. So I'm trying to kind of plant down a little bit. Also wanted to dig out around that tree so the roots don't get buried. But anyways, this plant doesn't like a lot of water. It wants to be thoroughly dried out before watering. And so I think I'll just give it one quick water and then leave it at that. To the left, I have this Electrum that I planted earlier this year, I believe this spring. So I might have to bump that over at some point. Right now it looks okay. Anyways, I'm happy with the work I've done in this bed so far. Planted my Daphne, I planted my Anemone, and I planted my Carex. And this bed is really coming along. So in light of how much oxalis I had to remove from this little corner here, I did decide to do some sheet mulching around this Daphne. I don't believe I have anything planted that needs to come up around there. So I think I'm safe. I did just protect the Electrum a little bit and went right up to my Pink Fizz Heucherella. So I think that'll suppress a lot of the weeds. So I put this just straight cardboard down. You can wet it if you want. We're a damp climate, so I'm not going to bother. And I'm just going to pop some mulch over top of that cardboard, cover it up, and we should be good to go. Alright, just buttoning up this area. So I did apply the sheet mulching method under this Daphne Odora Perfume Princess. It's looking very lovely and healthy in this spot. I think it's a good choice. And I've put the mulch over top of the cardboard so it's no longer visible. I didn't do the whole bed. You can see there's still mulch in here from before. There is some disturbed areas, but just not, don't have the energy to kind of do the whole bed. I did do a little bit of weeding around here, this area, and just did this small patch. Sometimes you can just do small patches of gardening at a time, and that's all you can do. So I'm happy with how it looks. I'm really pleased with this plant. I'm glad I got it on such a good deal, and I can't wait to see it bloom. So if it does bloom in midwinter, I'll be sure to share it with the channel. And if you have a chance to plant a Daphne, I highly suggest you do so, even if you put it in a pot, because it is a wonderful, beautifully smelling plant. Scented plant, I should say.